we should spread the word to make sure you support the businesses that sponsored us.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering. I don't have that in my notes to do that, but I thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because want to retain them. We want to retain them.
Oh, yeah.
Got a lot on the agenda.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, folks. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. I just want to remind the members who would like to speak at today's session regarding agenda items on today's meeting that there's a sign-up sheet over here to my left. If you could please do that before we start the meeting, it would be appreciated. Again, it's for speaking opportunities only on the agenda items for today's meeting. Yep. Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Royal Woodmaster Board of Directors meeting. The time is 3 p.m. Proof of notice for the meeting has been provided in accordance with our governing documents. And a quorum of the board are present, 6 board members here in person and 1 via the Zoom link. Jeff Clark from Amberley Village is participating in the meeting by Zoom. Before we begin, I would like to briefly outline how today's meeting will be conducted. This is a business meeting of the Board of Directors held in an open session for members to observe. We have a lot to cover today, as you can see by the length of our agenda, so we'll have to be efficient with our time for each session on the agenda. Presentation and discussions will take place among board members and the invited speakers. We have 2 formal presentations today, one on the Summit Broadband proposal from M Consulting Group, and one from the Collier County Sheriff's Department on trespassing issues in the community. Following each of the presentations, there will be time for board member only to ask questions with the invited speakers. All member comments, however, questions relating to their formal presentations will be able to be addressed during our open forum session. So in order to keep things moving efficiently, we're going to need to keep our questions with the presenters, between the board and the presenters. This approach will, as I said, will allow us to hopefully get through our agenda in a timely fashion. So the first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the April 14th, 2025 Board of Directors meeting and the October 23rd Joint Finance Master Board Workshop on the 2026 budget. The minutes of these meetings were included in the board meeting booklet starting on page 4. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented for both the April board meeting and the October workshop? Mike Fahili made the motion. Is there a second? Mike Murphy seconded. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
All opposed, say no, nay. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving along, and before introducing our first speaker, I would like to provide some background on what led to us being here today in the presentation that we'll see in just a minute. And it dates back to April of 2024, when Gary Norborn, our current president at the time, and I had the opportunity to attend a trade association trade show for homeowners associations. And at the trade show, we had the opportunity to meet Frank Mambuka from M Consulting Group and several of his colleagues. We learned more about the services that they offered relating to assisting homeowners associations with negotiating contracts for video, internet, and voice services. Mr. Norborn, after that trade show, reached out to Mr. Mambuka in the fall of 2024 to discuss our current contract with Summit Broadband that expires in April of 2028. At the February 25th Royal Master Association board meeting, the board unanimously approved a motion to approve a letter of agency with M Consulting Group to assist the association in negotiating a new contract for video, internet, and phone services. M Consulting's business model is one that relies on revenue generation once contracts are assigned by HOAs and the service providers. Royalwood does not have any monetary obligations to M Consulting Group under our agreement with them. As we began investigating alternative service providers in our region that offer the video, internet, and voice services, we learned that typically they don't want to begin contract negotiations with an HOA until about 12 to 15 months before the current contract expires. Mr. Mambuka from M Consulting suggested reaching out to Summit to see if they would submit a new contract proposal to us that would subsume the remaining years of our current contract. They responded in the affirmative, and M Consulting Group began negotiating with them on a new contract. After several months of negotiations, Summit provided a proposed new contract through the M Consulting Group to the Royalwood Master Association. After several more months of negotiations, a final proposed contract from Summit was sent to Royalwood's attorney to review the legal provisions in the contract. Our attorney provided a considerable amount of edits to the proposed contract. Summit accepted almost all of the edits provided by our attorney, and we are hoping to resolve the few remaining outstanding edits soon. So I hope you found that background helpful, and now I'd like to introduce Frank Mambuka, the founding partner of M Consulting Group. Frank will provide an overview on his engagement with us over the last 9 months, a summary of the key elements of the proposed contract, and the value proposition of the proposed contract compared to our current contract. So Frank, it's all yours.
Great, thank you.
You're gonna have to turn that on.
Okay. Can you hear? I think I need to hold this.
Get close to it.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that introduction, Rick. As he said, my name is Frank Mambuka from the M Consulting Group. I work in a consulting firm with associations like yours across the state of Florida. My team does.
Right. You have to move that closer.
Closer, okay. Oh, there you go. We work with associations across the state of Florida on their bulk agreements, either renewals like you're going through now or a brand new process to look at different proposals. So we've been doing this with your team for quite some time. I share with you one thing, that I am also a Summit Broadband bulk agreement customer. I live in the Vineyards, so I get to enjoy the same services that you have not been enjoying until this date, and so I'm hoping that we can get things straightened out for you like we have done over at the Vineyards, have attempted to. So with that intro, let's just talk about what we're going to do here today. Who's pushing this along? Okay. So this is going to be a quick presentation. I want to spend more time on Q&A because we've gone through this before. Some of you probably remember being in a meeting here back in April. But we're going to go through, if you go to the next slide, 4 different things today. One is just a little bit of a timeline, maybe even a recap of what Rick just said. And then we're going to go through what you have today in the current bulk agreement and what the proposed services are in the renewal agreement from Summit. And then we're going to talk a little bit about a trial that's been going on here that the 7 homeowners have been using the new Summit TV service, and we had a survey of them, and we'll have the results of that survey, and then we'll just do Q&A. So with that, we go to the next slide. So as Rick said, we got involved with this. We met some years ago in that meeting where we talked about our combined use of Summit services in our communities. And then eventually we got to see each other again, maybe a year later when we met and we joined together here in January. For the first quarter of the year, we continued to negotiate with Summit for your community. You're an important community in this area. You have 800 units. It's a very large community. So I actually called the CEO of Summit directly and told him about how unsatisfied you were and how they needed to put things straight for you, just like they were doing for us in the Vineyards. We're a little larger at 2,700 units. So on April 11th, the CEO of Summit himself and his executive team came out in this room and made a presentation for what they were proposing to do for this community. They took your questions and took the beating that they may have deserved from some of you, and from there we started then negotiating a contract with them. So we've had that contract going on for the last several months, but in addition, as I mentioned before, we started a trial. So we had one volunteer who's a permanent resident of Naples from each of the 7 individual sub-associations. So we had 7 people get the Summit TV service installed, use it for several months, and then a survey was done to get their feedback of that. So with that, so now here we are in November, we have this new contract, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Okay, from the perspective of services, there's a lot here on this slide, but I'll just try to go through from my memory the issues. So first is the infrastructure. So you have a fiber optic cable infrastructure today here at Royal Wood. It goes into every unit. What we're proposing here is an upgrade of the equipment on that fiber to go from a maximum, today you have an ONT in your home, an optical network terminal, that has a maximum of 1 gigabit speed down and 1 gigabit speed up. That's 1,000 megabits or 1 gigabit. The upgrade will have a new what's called XPON system being installed that will be capable of doing 10 gigabits. So you'll have 10 gigabits down, 10 gigabits up as a maximum speed. So that's the great thing about fiber that you decided many years ago to have fiber put in. The fiber will always stay the same. It's the equipment on the ends of that fiber that will get upgraded and continue to provide the state-of-the-art services to the community. From an internet perspective, the upgrade that they're proposing in speed is from what you have today at 100 megabits by 100 megabits to 1 gigabit by 1 gigabit. So 1,000 megabits by 1,000 megabits, a 10 times increase in speed from what you have today. Once the internet's in your home, you have the wireless network that you need to have. Today you have what is known as Wi-Fi 5, a single wireless router. What Summit is providing today is known as Wi-Fi 6E. It is a software system from a company called Plume. That company will then have an app on your phone that would allow you to manage a wireless mesh in your home. If you need additional wireless routers above the one that they would provide, they'll provide a second one at no additional charge in the bulk package. So you have a Wi-Fi mesh in your home. A single wireless router should cover 2,200 square feet, but then the second one would then double that to 4,400. I don't know that any of the homes here require that, but because of different topographies in your home, mirrors, brick walls, et cetera, if there's something that's stopping the wireless signal, then they will provide a second wireless device in order to rebroadcast that signal in the home. Okay, so now from a television service perspective. So this is, I think, the biggest change. Today, you guys are on what I call Summit's first generation of television. This is their 5th generation, so you've not got those upgrades as time has gone on. So the television service you have today, let's talk about each of the individual components thereof. You have a channel package today that consists of about 100 channels that are in your bulk package. What Summit is offering to you now is every single channel that they deliver, with the exception of the premium movie channels. So you would get their, and we have a channel lineup that you could look at. You get their packages that are known as Base, Ascend, Peak, Sports Package, and TiVo Plus. It's some 300 channels. You would get all of those channels as part of the bulk with no additional payment for additional channels. From the perspective of the set-top box, today you have one set-top box and 2 adapter boxes that are in your bulk. That will change to 3 set-top boxes. So you're going from what's known as linear TV that uses the coaxial cable in your walls to IPTV, Internet Protocol Television. They'll be no longer using any of the coax in the home. It'll all be wireless. So the fiber will come into the home, it will go into the ONT, to the wireless router, and then everything connects wirelessly, including the set-top boxes. Those set-top boxes now with IPTV have certain interesting new services. One is called Rewind TV. So when you pull up your channel guide, instead of only going forward to see what's coming up, you could go backwards 72 hours and see what was on, and then you could just watch that, even if you haven't recorded it on your DVR. Let's talk about a DVR. Today, you don't have a DVR in your bulk package. A DVR is now being added, so if you're paying for a DVR, that cost would go away. So the DVR allows you to record any program on any station, multiple at a time, an unlimited number at a time. It's not like you have a certain number of tuners in the DVR like the old days. Once you record something on your DVR, it's accessible by the 3 set-top boxes, but it's also accessible by the new Summit SBB TV streaming app. So you will get access to a streaming app that you can put on your phones, your tablets, your Fire Sticks, your smart TVs, et cetera. That will be able to take you anywhere you want to go with that, and you can access the DVR from there also. So that streaming TV app, you could take up north. You could watch all your programming down here, and you could watch it up north or at an airport or at a hotel or wherever you might be where you can access the internet. In addition, the set-top boxes that you get in your home are going to have streaming video apps integrated in them. Things like Netflix, Hulu, et cetera, that you would normally today with your current service, you have to change your HDMI input or use some other, use a Fire Stick or something. Those are all in the box now. So you have one box, HDMI 1 remote control, and you can access all of those streaming video apps as well as the Summit TV programming. In addition, you have a voice command remote control. So the voice command remote, you don't have a voice command remote control today with your TV service. This will allow you to search with your voice across everything. You can go on there and say, give me a certain program on Netflix. It'll just open Netflix and you'll be able to watch that program on Netflix. So you don't have to click all through it. The voice command will allow you to do those things searching across. It's a Google search. So that's the infrastructure, the internet, the TV service. And from a price perspective, today, your current contract, when you hit your increase in April of next year, your price for what you're paying today will be $76, right? $76.
That's April of 2028.
April of 2026. Yeah, it's next year's 3% increase. Summit is offering this package to you for $68.99. So as an 800-unit community, you're buying in bulk, you're getting a better deal. We've negotiated these for other communities of your size, and so we forced Summit's hand. So you would get all of the things that we're talking about now, and you'll get it at a price reduced from what you're paying today. Okay? So that's what was before, what could be. Let's go on to the next slide. So these next 2 slides just talk about the trial that was done by your 7 neighbors here in Royal Wood that used this service for several months. In the upper right corner of this slide, you can see the scale of 1 to 5. So there were multiple things we asked them to rate on a scale of 1 to 5. There was 5 categories. You see a couple of them on this screen, which include installation, the internet service, their satisfaction with the TV service, with the equipment they were using, and with customer service. And without getting into all this level of detail, every one of these items came out as a rating of higher than 4, somewhere between 4 and 5 for all of the services that they were using. So I would have to say it was a a positive experience. Again, the thing that they were really trialing was the SBB TV service, because it's still going over your current internet, but the internet will be upgraded if you go forward with the project. So that is the, if you go on to the next slide, is more of the, survey of the trial participants. So that is the meat of what I wanted to bring to you today. It's more of a summary of the things that we were talking about for the last year. And so with that, I'll do Q&A.
Thank you, Frank. Really appreciate that presentation and the time you committed to this.
Thanks.
I have a few questions or comments that I'm hoping you can elaborate on. The first is a clarifying question, Frank, and I might be wrong, but I thought when you referenced the internet speed, you referenced 1 gigabyte, and I believe it's 2 gigabytes and 20 times the speed. Is that correct?
You are correct, sorry. Okay. So the internet speed that will be, your internet speed in the bulk will be 2 gigabits by 2 gigabits, 2,000 megabits by 2,000 megabits. Right, you guys got that. Okay. I had got a gig by gig for a different community that was much smaller, so we got 2 gigabits for you. So that will be the initial speed when we start, yes.
Okay, I recall in the survey of the trial participants that there was some not so good feedback on the current voice command remote.
Yes.
Can you share with the group how things have changed and what's anticipated?
Yes. So the voice command remote, those of you that have different services up north, you might be used to using a voice command remote. I happen to love the voice command remote. I am currently using the SBB TV service at my home. I'm a trial participant. And when I went to that, the voice command was fine for everything I wanted it for, except for one key thing. I couldn't just change the channel by saying into it ESPN or, Fox News or whatever I wanted to say. It would just open the app. So it was a feature that was not part of Summit's voice command. I could say into it, my granddaughter was just over last night and said Peppa Pig on YouTube, comes right up. So it's been something that I've been talking to Summit about for months, and this month they are actually upgrading the remote to now you can change channels with the voice command. Prior to that, you had to either memorize your channel numbers or you go through the guide or get a piece of paper. So I had kind of stopped doing that after I got used to using the voice command. So Summit has responded to that. And interestingly, I talked to them about that in January or February, and they committed in the fourth quarter, and they're actually making their commitment. So it's a whole, I'm shocked, right? I'm very happy that, as a Summit bulk customer, that they really are, this whole new executive team is really living up to their commitments.
Great, thank you, that's helpful. The final question I have is, in the slide that you showed the comparisons and the one on the rate, which would be a reduction in our current rate, I believe that translates into about a $67,000 annual savings to the community over our current rate for the period of starting April 1st of 2026.
That's correct.
You also worked with them on a 5-year, that was based about a 10-year term contract. You also worked with them on a 5-year contract as well. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes. So just a couple things about the contract negotiations. So we've got a lot of good teeth. Somebody asked me when we walked in, do you have a commitment that if they have an outage or something that we can, reduce our fees or have a penalty? And the answer is yes. We have a section called service level agreements where they have to perform to a certain standard, and if they don't, they will have penalties. But in addition, one of the things we negotiated in there was the ability to take TV out of the bulk services over the course of the contract. So we don't know where TV is going. We've seen so much changing in the way people watch TV to this day, but if we want to, at Royalwood, at some point during the life of the contract, we could just go back to an internet-only bulk, because everybody needs the internet, and everybody gets TV on their own. So that's an option that would be in the flexibility of the contract in the future. Of course, the price would go down if you drop TV from the bulk. But from the perspective of the price and the term, so what we negotiated was a 10-year term to subsume the existing term on this agreement. So there's 2.5 years left on the agreement right now. So when we do this deal, the 10-year term would be at $68.99. If instead you wanted to do a 5-year term, the price was $78. So the price would go up $2 to get all of this, and the term would be only 5 years added on or subsumed what you have today. So it's basically the difference of $9.01 in price for a 5-year term or a 10-year term.
So since the two options for the term of the contract, 5 and 10 years, since they're subsuming the existing contract, they're really a net of 3 years and 8 years.
3 and 8, correct.
Okay. Okay. Any other board members have questions for Frank?
Frank, you may have answered this. You may have answered this already, but for those of us who want to take Summit North with us, what do we have to take with us?
Say that again?
What equipment do we have to
Okay,
take north?
so to take Summit up north with you, in one way you could do it, there's two ways to do it. One way is to bring no equipment with you and just use the app. So you could anything with the Google Play Store can download the app. So you can download the app to your smart TV, Fire Stick, Apple TV device, any of those devices, Chromecast, you can download the app and then just use that remote control from that device and then watch your TV programming up north. But you could also take the set-top box and the remote control from here, throw it in your suitcase, bring it up there, and it would work. Someone doesn't tell you to do that because people forget it, they lose the remote or whatever, but you can take the equipment with you as well to take it up north. So you can watch it either with the equipment or with the app.
Thanks.
Oh, same question, okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Frank from the board? Yes, Jamshed, talk into the mic closely, please, and make sure it's on.
Question for you.
No? Got to flip the switch. There you go.
A question for you, Rick. Is the general membership have a voice to approve this contract or not?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Jamshed?
Would the general membership have a chance to look at this contract and approve, put their input into it?
The general membership has not had a chance to. We are been in the
the
negotiating
board.
process. The board has had numerous opportunities to review the contract and provide feedback. After we got all of that feedback, we then presented it to Summit. They issued various iterations of the proposed contract. Once we got all of those comments collected, we then sent another iteration to our attorney, who reviewed the contract primarily from looking at the legal provisions in the contract, and as I mentioned earlier, has provided her comments, many of which have been addressed in the contract with a few outstanding that we're hoping to get resolved. But it has been the board who has been doing all of the analysis on the proposed contract in conjunction with M Consulting.
Thank you.
And Frank, the installation will be done by,
Summit.
no, but
By a certain date.
when will it be completed?
Yeah, okay, so that's a great question. When is this going to happen? So clearly, Summit cannot start their materials acquisition process, their planning, et cetera, until we sign a contract. So the sooner we can get that contract signed, the sooner we can get them moving. My goal is for you to get this contract signed by the end of this month, and then we would be doing the installs in the first quarter of 2026 when people are here. The more we delay, it'll push off into next season, which would be the 26-27 season. 'Cause I know this is a very seasonal community. So it would happen in this season if we can get the contract signed.
I'm not sure I heard Jamshed's question, but I'm questioning the clubhouse TVs. Are they going to be on the Summit package as well and get rid of the direct TV they have? So we'll have all the sports packages and everything else to watch.
So the clubhouse facilities and all the common areas will get the bulk services at no charge. So you will get that. So you could put it in the TVs in the restaurant. I don't know, do you guys watch the NFL ticket on those things? So the NFL ticket, you can only get, the NFL ticket on a commercial services basis, you get on those direct TV boxes. If you wanted to get it with Summit, you'd have to get it through a subscription to YouTube TV. Right, so that's how I get mine at my house. I get it, the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube. So it's something we can talk about. They certainly will provide the service, but the issue with common areas is only when you have that NFL package. So we could put it in and you could just, turn DirecTV on for the football season and then not pay for it during the off season, et cetera. But we could talk about that. It's an issue with the NFL, that's why I bring that up.
Okay, not seeing any more questions, Frank. Again, we want to thank you for joining us today together with a couple of your team members, and really appreciate the opportunity to work with you.
Well, thanks.
And hopefully we'll be back in touch with
Thank you,
a
and
decision.
thank you to the board for letting me go first, ahead of the police. The real reason he put me first is today's my 40th wedding anniversary, so
There you go.
I need to get home
Oh,
to my
enjoy.
wife.
Thank you. And once again, we will have the opportunity for members here in person to provide comments on Frank's presentation as well as our next presentation. So I'd like to now call upon Bob Paraway, the chair of our Safety Committee, to introduce our guest speaker from the Collier County Sheriff's Department. Bob, come on in. Speak close to the mic, Bob.
Good afternoon. I'm Bob Paraway, Chairman of the Health and Safety Committee at Royal Wood. I'm here. I'm pleased to have Corporal James Spots there. James puts up with all my bull. I call him all the time, email him all the time when we have issues here, and he never once ever turns me down or never hangs up, always answering. And I'm pleased today that Corporal Spots brought today Corporal Anthony Carroza. Anthony's gonna, as we know, we're pretty lucky here. We haven't had much crime here at all, if any. There's not. If we do have some trespassing, and it affects some people. The trespassing, people coming in fishing, and kids riding on bikes, and so we've asked, the board have asked me, and along with Corporal Spots, to have somebody from the sheriff's office explain what we should be doing when we see someone like that, and you can ask questions, I guess. So can we? A little thank you to Corporal Anthony Carroza.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having us here today. So I was going to spend a few minutes just talking about some of the procedures that we must go through in order to ensure that everyone's rights are protected and that we do things the right way so that we can enforce and solve the problem. When it comes to people, for example, fishing in communities, we require that a board member be present on scene. So a person who's a resident, that would not simply suffice. We would need someone like the president or perhaps maybe the head golf instructor or the treasurer, someone who is a duly elected member of the main overarching board of Royal Wood would have to be present on scene in order for us to trespass someone who's unauthorized. When we encounter the person, call us, don't talk to them, because we need to see them on the property and we need to gather their information and we need to issue the trespass warning, because if they leave before we get there, they haven't been technically warned, and the arrest would only be valid if it's trespass after arrest. Again, if a Royal Wood overarching board member is on scene. So when we get there and we encounter the person, we talk to them, we have to ensure also that this person has or does not have the authority to be here. So if they live here on the property, or they say that they're visiting someone, or that they were invited to be on the property, it can be kind of challenging for us to disprove that. But we do our best. We ask the right questions to make sure that the person should be here or should not be here. Okay. I understand that some people were able to photograph some license plates of some of the people. Just wanted to kind of assure everyone that these aren't people coming from from the rough parts of town. These are people from nearby communities that just came here to fish. They're not really here to cause any other trouble. They're just kind of here to fish, is what it seems like, based on the conversations we've had with some of these people. Another thing, if you see somebody here that you believe is fishing or that should not be here, please request contact from the responding deputy so that you can meet with them or talk to them on the phone at the very least, so we can gather some additional information. All right. Anything else I haven't touched on?
The biggest thing is we don't want anybody here confronting the fishermen or fisherwomen, whoever's out there. The biggest thing is call us, and like Corporal Croza said, give your name, your phone number. If you want to speak to the deputy, we all have agency-issued phones. We can give you a buzz and say, hey, we got them trespassed, we warned them, whatever it is we were able to do. But please be very careful. We've got other communities in East Naples where this is also an issue. One off of Bay Shore that's a gated community with people at the gates. Isles of Collier is another one. We have a lot of issues with fishing back there. So, yeah, just be very careful in any contact you make with them. The contact I've had with them, and I think other deputies, has been not horrible. I mean, the kids I met out here at the first tee one day riding their bikes off, the guy was yes, sir, no, sir, was very polite. And when I told him he had to get off the property. Yeah, just use common sense, but definitely get a hold of the deputy somehow, whether by phone or in person, to get a disposition of the call. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. You can.
The question is, if you have your cell phones, is it appropriate to take pictures of the vehicles or the individuals who are trespassing?
You can, but at the same time, we don't want you confronting them or walking up to their car. It's pretty obvious what you're doing. If you can get that picture from your lanai while you're on the phone with us or waiting for us, whatever, and it is not going to be, unfortunately, we're busy, but we're not that busy, is what I always like to say. We are busy. I'm lucky to have the two deputies here today because this afternoon was crazy. As far as priority goes, it's going to be a lower priority call, so it may take us a little while to get there, 10, 15, 20 minutes, which is going to seem like 3 hours. I know because I've been on the other end. So keep an eye on them with dispatch. Let us know where they're headed, where they're walking to, what they're wearing, kind of car they drive, if you know, bicycle, anything like that. And yeah, we will eventually get here. Any others? Yes, ma'am.
This isn't about kids coming and fishing. One thing, I'm a year-round resident. I'm sorry, but the board isn't here about how we get the board to be here and witness what we're doing.
Well, like Corporal Croza said, it can be your GM, the head of golf, who's here all year. If you can call them, say, hey, meet me on the 15th. You know, we've got.
You're talking time of day and
Yeah,
not weekends.
sure.
So this is something
Yes,
that
that one.
you as your community and your property management and your board are going to need to work together to make a decision about. So what happens for us whenever we look at Florida statute is that we need an authorized agent of the property to be able to issue trespass warnings. So whenever Corporal Carrazza is going over, who can issue the trespass warnings, it needs to be designated, so that can be done in advance. So you can have like a list of persons that would be around year-round. So maybe you can communicate with them and say, hey, there's somebody over behind hole 10. Can we call the sheriff's office and you issue trespass warning? As long as somebody's designated, whether it's somebody that works here, or a board member, or whomever, as long as it's in advance and we have some way to verify and validate that, then they would be authorized to issue that trespass warning. So that would be the perfect time to maybe have that discussion now, so that way going forward, we have some concise answer. Okay? Yes.
Mike, could you give
Fishing. Oh,
Dottie
sorry.
just so people on the
Okay.
YouTube channel can hear you, Dottie.
Okay, so not about fishing, but people that come in from the outside and
Yes.
use our dumpsters.
Yes. So the problem and challenges that we face with not just your community is that we understand that, you know, there are walls and borders along your community. However, at the same time is that Royalwood Boulevard is open from Rattlesnake, it's open and inviting. And while I see that there's signs whenever we drive in that say no trespassing, by Florida Statute 810.011 provides some definitions for how trespassing and how we have to abide by what would be considered like a notice of trespassing. There's, it may seem arbitrary, but there's like, has to be posted every 500 feet, has to be, you know, international orange and all, 2 inches tall. So there's all of those things. If you have anything suspicious going on, somebody's coming in, diving in dumpsters, doing all that stuff, as we say, see something, say something. Call us, you know. The worst thing that happens is we show up, we figure out what it is, and we may find out that it is somebody that it's allowed to be here, and then we go on about our day. But the other thing that it does is it puts us in your community, shows that there's a law enforcement presence, and then that way we can do what we need to do if there is something funny going on. Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you.
Yes, sir.
What's the phone number to call?
So obviously, we have 2 numbers. Easiest one in the world is going to be 911. If there's an emergency, call 911. If it's going to be somebody that's fishing, we have a non-emergency number. It's 239-252-9300. That goes to our emergency communications center. Yes. 252-9300, 9300. Yes.
We'll post that number, that non-emergency number on our website for members to be able to gain access. And we have a bunch of business cards here too. Thank you. Any other questions from board members or from members in the audience? Okay. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us.
Thank you for your time.
Much appreciated. Bob, thank you for arranging that, Bob. All right, moving on. Our next agenda item is our customary at our November board meetings, and I would now like to ask Peter Kokoska to provide our annual tribute to Royalwood veterans. Peter?
Thank you, Rick. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to give you the history of Veterans Day. The holiday began as Armistice Day in 1919, proclaimed by President Woodrow Wilson to commemorate the end of World War I. A congressional act approved May 13, 1938, made November 11th in each year a legal holiday, a day to be dedicated to the cause of world peace and to thereafter celebrated and known as Armistice Day. President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill into law on May 26, 1954, specifically designating Armistice Day as a day for honoring all U.S. veterans, both living and dead. Congress amended the bill on June 1, 1954, replacing armistice with veterans, and has been known as Veterans Day since. So historically, to be recognized in our Veterans Tribute, one must be a military veteran who has served in the U.S. Armed Forces and currently is a resident of Royalwood Golf and Country Club. Now to begin the tribute. First, we have World War II veterans. On Tuesday, November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day. For the past several years, the Master Board has honored our Royalwood veterans at its November meeting. Of the 16 originally listed World War II vets, only one remains. The last Royalwood World War II United States veteran still residing with us is our own legendary Charlie Ray. Is Charlie here? No, Charlie's not here. We are very honored by his presence. Moving along, we have Korean War era veterans. The Korean War has been called the Forgotten War in the USA, where coverage of the 1950s conflict was censored, and its memory decades later is often overshadowed by World War II and the Vietnam War. Today, we like to acknowledge those Royalwood veterans who served during that conflict and give them the recognition that they rightly deserve. Currently, we have 7 Korean War-era vets still residing in Royal Wood. For brevity, what I'd like to do is just announce their name, their rank, and the branch. If they're new to the listing, I'll give a brief bio. So for Korean warrior vets, we have Alden Victoria, Staff Sergeant, Air Force. Tony LeConte, Corporal, Army. Bob Martin, Optomechanical Specialist, 2nd Class, Navy. Jack Preet, Sergeant, Army. Jerry Raley, Staff Sergeant, Air Force. Charlie Ray, Sergeant, Air Force. Bob St. Francis, Spec 4, U.S. Army. Thank you for your service. Okay, we move on to the Vietnam War era veterans. Our Royal Wood World War II and Korean War vets continue to receive their due recognition these past few years, and rightfully so. As fate would have it, our next generation was also involved in an armed conflict, Vietnam. Many of our young people were called to duty either through enlistment or the draft. Today we honor those Royal Wood vets who served during the Vietnam War. It's been 55 years since the conclusion of that conflict, and many of these vets are now in their late 70s and early 80s. Sadly, one veteran, Barry Mead, has recently passed away. We currently have 61 Vietnam-era vets residing in Royal Wood, and I'd like to give you their names. Stan Adams, Spec 5, Army. Richard A. Anderson, Sergeant, Army. Ted Borders, 2nd Lieutenant, Marine Corps. Charles Borgioli, Airman 2nd Class, Air Force. Brendan Connolly, Sergeant, Marine Corps. Alan Copeland, Spec 4, Army. Mike Crowley, Sergeant, Army. Richard J. Daly Jr., Sergeant, Air Force. Frank Damiano, First Lieutenant, Army. George Elias, Sergeant, Army. Bill Emerson, Spec 5, Army National Guard. Vince Fasano, Captain, U.S. Navy, retired. Mike Fennelly, Radio Man, 2nd Class, Navy. Mike Filyaw, Staff Sergeant, Air Force. Tom Fitzpatrick, First Lieutenant, Army. Bob Frey, Sergeant, Air Force. Rich Gamelli, Sergeant, Air Force. Mickey Gillis, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Navy. Harry Hansen, Spec 5, U.S. Army National Guard. Alfred Hoffman, Spec 4, Army Reserves. Mary Howes, U.S. Women's Army Corps. Norman Howes, Spec 5, U.S. Army. Keith Illies, Captain, Air Force. John Jackson, Staff Sergeant, Air Force. Roger Castell, Senior Master Sergeant, U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force. Lee Keenan, Spec 5, Army. Charlie Keller, Sergeant, Army. Thomas Kelly, Private, U.S. Marine Corps, 1st Division, served as a fire team leader at Quantico, Virginia. Peter Kokoska, Sergeant, Army. Tom Kokoska, Radar Man, 3rd Class, Navy. Rick Riala, Spec 4, Army. Ron Lautzenheiser, 1st Lieutenant, Army. Andrew Laviano, 1st Lieutenant, Army. Rich Lindsay, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, U.S. Navy Reserves. Joe Looker, Sergeant, Marine Corps. Donald Duffy, Airman 1st Class, Maryland Air National Guard, 135th Air Commandos. Bruce McFadzean, Captain, Air Force. Robert Mellor, Lieutenant, Navy. Roger Miller, Sergeant, Air Force. Peter M. Morandi, Seaman 1st Class, Coast Guard. Bob Mitchell, Sergeant, Army. Bob Morales, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Navy. James Mullen, Staff Sergeant, Air Force. Bob Neville, Sergeant, Army. Ken Nikolic, Sergeant, Army. Thomas Parker, Sergeant, Marine Corps. John Paul, Seaman First Class, U.S. Coast Guard, Flotilla Number 7, served as a yeoman at the Barnegat Lighthouse Station, New Jersey. Larry Poor, Sergeant, Army. Arnie Pophams, First Lieutenant, Air Force. Jerry Powers, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Navy. James Rayner, Spec 4, U.S. Army Reserve. Doug Reed, Spec 6, Army. Michael C. Rogers, Sergeant, Army. William Rolfe, Staff Sergeant, Air Force. Ryan Smith, Captain, Air Force. Ray San Martino, Spec 4, Army National Guard. Jim Travers, E4, Army. Jennifer Weed, Spec 4, U.S. Army, 56th Signal Corps, 509th Signal Battalion. Served as telecommunications center operator at Camp Darby, Pisa, Italy. Awarded the Army Commendation and Foreign Service Medals. Dave Weldon, Torpedo Man, 3rd Class, Navy. Jim Wright, Captain, Marine Corps. Peter Zappi, First Lieutenant, Army. Thank you for your service and welcome home. Here we have Royal Wood U.S. military veterans who are under other, meaning they were in other conflicts. This list is dedicated to those U.S. veterans who did not serve during the World War II, Korean, or Vietnam eras. Their military service is no less honorable. When the Veterans Tribute was first started, the intent was to recognize those veterans who served during a period of major conflict. A substantial number of our Royal Wood residents fell within those parameters. Since the end of the Vietnam era, there have been many conflicts such as Panama, Grenada, the Middle East, and Afghanistan, to name a few. Going forward, all U.S. military veterans who served in the U.S. Armed Services will be honored for their service regardless of where or when they served. It is so important that we remember all veterans, not only on Veterans Day, but every day. These dedicated individuals, both men and women, have bravely left behind family, friends, and unexplored possibilities in the name of freedom, liberty, and democracy. Veterans Day is always an opportunity for reflection and remembrance and camaraderie. Here's the list. Jay Beaumont, Lieutenant, U.S. Navy, Fleet Air Reconnaissance, VQ-4 Shadows, served as pilot at the Patuxent River Naval Station during the First Gulf War. Mike Bontatabas, Spec 4, Army. Walter R. Clark, Lance Corporal, Marine Corps. Albert Galebiowski, Captain, U.S. Army Reserves, retired. Headquarters, 106th Training Regiment Academy. Served as an aide-de-camp and signal officer at Camp Smith, New York, and Fort Gordon, Georgia. Awarded the Army Commendation and Army Achievement Medals. Frank Johnson, Aviation Technician, 3rd Class, Navy. John McArdle, Electrician's Mate, 3rd Class, Navy. Bill Robinson, Jr., Staff Sergeant, Marine Corps. Jim Rogan, Spec 4, U.S. Army, 187th Artillery. Served as a radio operator, artillery specialist at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Jim Werner, Spec 4, U.S. Army, Headquarters Detachment, 15 Ordnance Battalion, 7th Army, Special Weapons Unit. Served as Personnel Administration Specialist in Frankfurt, Germany. Thank you for your service. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge all Royal Wood veterans from all branches of the military who are currently residents, and especially those in attendance today at this meeting. Please rise and remain standing as I call out each service branch. The Merchant Marines, the Coast Guard, The Navy. Anyone from the Navy? The Marines. Oh, buddy, oh my goodness. The Air Force. And finally, the Army. Thank you for your service. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate.
One last thing. This presentation will be posted on the Royalwood website under Our Communities-Veterans for viewing by all Royalwood residents. Respectfully, Peter J. Kokoska. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated. Okay, I'm going to make a slight change to the agenda and flip my president's report with our golf course superintendent's report, knowing Ori has some time constraints, and we'll now invite Ori to come up and give his report.
Thank you very much. We had a really good tournament last weekend for the men's member guests. My guys worked extremely hard. We achieved a lot of the goals that we set out for once we started getting ready for the tournament. So I'm very, fortunate to have those guys down there. Now we're just switching gears, kind of getting back to the detailing of the golf course now. With the cold weather coming, we won't be doing as much mowing, so that allows us to kind of catch up on the detail work. It's just business as usual. We being very proactive right now with the weather change and watching our water, because with the much needed project coming up in 28, the golf course tends to stay wet, so we're just going to be very proactive with that. The water, irrigation water. And we're just looking forward to the project in 28. Already having really good meetings on that with the renovation committee. Extremely excited to be a part of that project. And I can answer any questions or.
Any questions for Ori?
Thank you. Yeah, I just was going to say I had just started here last year for the first one, so I kind of got thrown into it, but it was definitely rewarding this year being able to have plans and goals for the tournament and then achieving those goals and then coming back Saturday night and hearing all the nice compliments. And it's just a team effort, but I'm very happy to be here.
Just one other comment, Ori. I didn't realize until I started getting engaged on the board and working more closely with the golf superintendent, the challenge that we have in maintaining our golf course the older it gets. And every year it becomes more and more difficult. And that's quite honestly why the club many years ago decided to put a reserve funding for our renovation project in 2028, which you'll hear more about when Gary Norbaum comes up. But we do realize it gets more challenging every year to keep our course at the finest condition that it is. So we appreciate the work that you and your team are doing. And just to echo Rick Verrier's comments about the conditions that we experienced over the weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, just going back to the project, it's definitely something that needs to be done. You just have a lot of contamination out there in the fairways, irrigation. We're having more and more issues with the irrigation system, but it's getting close to 20 years old. And with older greens, they tend to stay wet, so that's another issue we're facing, but it'll all be taken care of in 28.
Thank you, Ori.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along here, I'll now provide the president's report, and I will provide a very brief report on just some of the key activities that have taken place since the end of last season in April when most of us went north. First, I'm pleased to report on the successful completion of the club's court resurfacing project that occurred this off-season. The new courts are not only just beautiful, but they also meet our goal of increasing the utilization of this very important asset of our club. Many thanks go out to everyone who contributed to the planning, oversight, timely completion of this project, and in particular, Joe Looker, who volunteered to oversee the project throughout its construction. Joe was here every day managing the project and working with the contractors that did the work. I also want to take a moment to thank Royalwood residents who participated in the Summit Broadband Technology Trial this past summer that was referenced earlier. Your willingness to test Summit's new internet and video services provided the board valuable and real-world feedback that helped shape the proposed contract that we talked about earlier and will be voted on later in the agenda. Your time and insights were greatly appreciated. They've been instrumental in helping us make an informed decision on this important matter for the community. I'd also like to recognize the initial accomplishments of the newly established House Committee, who have been tasked with identifying, evaluating, and recommending improvements to the visual appeal, ambiance, and functionality of the association's clubhouse and surrounding common areas. They're off to a great start and look forward to their future endeavors. I think we may hear more about their work in the committee reports a little later. And finally, I want to acknowledge the tremendous success of last weekend's member guest tournament. It was one of the most memorable and well-attended events we've had in recent years. My sincere appreciation goes to the Golf and Greens Chair, Jeff Johns, the Tournament Committee Chair, Brian Healy, and all the members of the committee for their planning and execution of a first-class event. I also want to commend our General Manager, Debbie Richard, and our entire staff, particularly the Pro Shop team, the Golf Operations team, and the Food and Beverage team for their extraordinary efforts throughout the four-day tournament. Their professionalism and enthusiasm were noticed and appreciated by everyone who participated in the event. So once again, thank you. So these successes I just referenced are just a glimpse of what has occurred over the club for the off-season period, but it really defines Royalwood. Volunteers, committees, and staff all working together to make our community stronger and more enjoyable for all our members and all our guests. So thank you. And that concludes my president's report. I will now ask our general manager to provide her report.
Hi, everybody. I just have a few things to go over that we did this summer. A few things. The board unanimously approved several projects and purchases aimed at improving efficiency and enhancing the members' experience here at Royalwood. We have purchased a pressure washer. This pressure washer was approximately $16,000. We had originally budgeted $17,500 to hire outside contractors for cleaning sidewalks and gutters. With this equipment, our team can now handle this work in-house and spot clean as needed, keeping everything looking great year-round without waiting until it becomes unsightly. So that's the rust on the sidewalks and the gutters. We'll be now taking care of that. We purchased new dishware. The board unanimously approved this. It was budgeted for in 2026 for $28,600. We were able to purchase it for $17,000, well under budget. Royalwood Appreciation Fund donations. The board unanimously approved $3,200 from the Royalwood Appreciation Fund to the House Committee. This was for purchases for the furniture under the Podica share. The committee has spent $2,172. and $919 for new umbrellas that will go out here on the patio. This summer, we moved the salad bar. We relocated it into the atrium from the grill room. We had to have Titan Electric come in and run some wiring in order to do that. It gives us more seating in the grill room, which everyone seems to want to be in. So we had moved all those computers that were in the atrium behind the wall now. So I think that it works out a lot better as far as visually. This year, we're changing auditing firms. After more than 25 years with RSM, we've transitioned to a new firm, auditing firm. They are called Phillips Feldman Group. RSM recently discontinued service for clubs with under $20 million in revenue. Phillips Feldman is an excellent fit for Royalwood, and they are also the accountants that published the Beekman Report, which is a huge resource for all clubs and the finance committees to use this to see where we're at compared to other clubs. It's a really invaluable tool that they give us. And this summer, we did some sidewalk and parking lot repairs. We addressed potential tripping hazards by cutting and repaving areas where the oak tree roots had broken through the pavement in the parking lot. Additionally, we engaged a contractor to grind and level select sections of the sidewalks to eliminate uneven surfaces. So that's something that it's one of those, if you see it, say it. I know some people say they've said things for years and it never gets done, but if I don't know about it, I can't address it. This summer was the first time I had ever heard of this, and actually had several companies come out and give us bids. And so hopefully, if there's something that's that you see that we can fix for the better, please let me know. And I'd also like to just take 1 second to thank all of Royalwood, not only just the employees, but the members that were in the member guests were so gracious and so appreciative of the staff that I think everybody felt overwhelmed with gratitude. I know so many of us employees take huge, I don't even know the words, we just really love Royalwood, and we do the best we can for here at all times. And when the members actually see that and appreciate it, it's very heartwarming to all of us. So thank you all.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that report. Moving things along, I'll turn to my right and invite Mike Murphy to provide a brief report on the club's financials.
Thank you, Rick. Good afternoon, everyone. Royalwood Financials, 2025, January through October. I'll run through our operating revenues, and I'll run through our operating expenses to get everyone up to date. Revenues year to date, that's money coming in. Greens fees and cart fees are under $740. Administrative fees and estoppel fees are under $139. Food and beverage are under $82,898. And the pro shop is over $13,992. So in total, our operating revenues are down $75,695. And so that's really just about 1% of the operating budget. So not too bad. We're certainly hoping to have a couple good final months that we can even work on that and have those come up. Now, expenses. This is the interesting part of this. This is money going out. General and administrative is over budget, $16,668. HR fees are over $12,000. Water and sewer are over $2,500. Street lighting is over $2,300. Fountain utilities are over $4,900. All other utilities are under plan, $3,300. The pro shop is under budget, $5,200. Cost of sales over budget is $13,352. The cart barn is under budget, $3,300. Pest control is under budget, $1,500. And year-to-date, cost of sales is 60%. The golf course is under budget, $1,360. The common area is under budget, $4,000. Waste removal is under budget, $2,900. Food and beverage is under budget, $10,948. Our cost of sales is $60,173 under budget. The fitness center is under budget. Insurance is under budget, $61,000. We're hoping it'll be under budget around $70,000 by the end of this fiscal year. Payroll and benefits are under budget, $81,885. So our total expenses are under budget by $196,000. So Royal Wood net earnings year-to-date before non-cash items are $120,000 compared to budget. So that's very positive results. You can see there's a lot of activity going on here. There's stuff up, there's stuff down, there's stuff going all around. It's extremely difficult period to manage these types of things. We have a lot of moving parts and pieces here at the club, and quite frankly, there's a lot of moving pieces in the world today and in commerce in general. And so to run a place like this, I mean, hats off, you know, Debbie, to you and your team to stay on top of this, to keep us in a very positive position. The great thing about the $120,000 year-to-date that we're ahead is that money goes right back into the reserve to help cover the cost for the golf course renovations. And so, you know, hats off to every single member at this club, because we're really doing a remarkable thing. We are trying to save our money to pay for this golf course renovation up front. And not many other country clubs do this. Most clubs take out bank loans, they take out mortgages, they do whatever they need to do. Certainly they have assessments. They go ahead and they do things and they pay for it afterwards. And here at Royal Wood, we've always been pretty proud to try to say that, you know, we're debt-free and we pay for what we do, and we try to do the best that we can with what we have. And so, once again, you know, the years seem to go by pretty quickly, don't they? But we're sitting here in a positive place again, here at Royal Wood financially. So that's just a great thing. And the next couple years are going to be just, you know, kind of really, really exciting. And of course, getting to that 2028, and we get that new golf course, that's going to be really, really, really terrific. So thanks to everyone at Royal Wood for really making such a great financial commitment to do this stuff.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to hear that we are in good shape to meet or beat our net earnings target for this year by end of December. Let's move on to our committee reports section of the agenda, and I'm going to call upon the committee chairs who responded to my email saying that they will provide updates. And in alphabetical order by name of committee, first up is Gina Murphy from the Appreciation Day Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gina Murphy, the chair of the Appreciation Day Committee. Appreciation Day in 2026 is going to be on Saturday, March 28th. The event started in 1995 as Royal Wood's community's way of expressing appreciation and raising funds for the enhancement of Royal Wood. There are two components to Appreciation Day, the raffle and the golf. In past years, the funds that were raised went to the uplighting on the palms on Royal Wood Boulevard and the purchase for the outside furniture. Last season, the Appreciation Day Committee decided to use money raised to fund the purchase of a large, four-faced, freestanding outdoor clock. The estimated cost for the clock is $34,000. Since the funds in Appreciation Day account do not cover the cost of the clock, a fundraiser of selling personalized bricks to enhance the location of the clock was proposed. Each brick would cost about $200, which includes 4 lines of engraving and 144 characters. We need a commitment of 80 bricks to reach our goal. Unfortunately, to date, we have only 15 reservations for brick purchases. We have also received many comments opposing this purchase. With this said, the Appreciation Day Committee met and has decided not to pursue this venture at this time. And therefore, we're asking the Royalwood community to submit requests for funding for special projects. These requests will be discussed and reviewed by the Appreciation Day Committee. The members of this committee are Patty Lincoln, Patty Limbell, Carlin Bell, Mindy Norbaum, Elaine Sanders, Rick Verrier, Pat Lindley, and Wyatt Turner. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Next up is Jim Reyna, Chair of the Architectural Review Committee. Jim?
Peter brought back old memories, from military days. And one of the first things we learned in basic training is if they ask for volunteers, turn your head. I think I must suffer from some long-term memory loss, volunteering for committees, because sometimes it's a difficult job. I wasn't really sure how I was going to proceed with this, so I think it's, for an opening here, we have new members, we have old members, we have a lot of people who may not understand exactly, what we do. The newest iterations of the committee began about 2.5 years ago, and when we started doing our organizational meeting, we found out, much to our chagrin, that the law had changed. The ARC committee had to be run exactly the same way that the master board meetings are run, which means that we have to give out, we have to post notices according to the statutory requirements. We have to have an agenda, we have to have an open meeting, and we have to vote. Previously, our rules just called for a meeting once a quarter, and it provided for secret voting. Everything's out in the open. And that wasn't, being open in our votes wasn't the problem. It's the paperwork and meeting the needs of the people. Now, because there were no meeting minutes going back to 1993, when the membership took over, we were on our own in many respects. So we had to start researching the law. We had to figure out what we were allowed to do, what we couldn't do, in keeping with due process, basically equal protection of the law for all of our members. What we found out is that our jurisdiction lied solely with the documents. If it's not stated in the PUD, which is the Plan Unit Development Ordinance, if it's not stated in the Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions, conditions, covenants, and restrictions, if it's not based in the bylaws, we can't make things up. We can't go outside of those documents. Also, because we have jurisdiction over architectural changes and aesthetic modifications to the condos, we have to understand their laws too. So we're looking at, we're sort of have to look at about nine different documents or more in order to come up with the right decision. And we don't just wing things. Everything, if there's a question about something, we do our own legal research, and we're able to support everything with legal background. Now, that being said, as Hamlet said, there's a rub with the documents, because we found out that the documents have been overridden by Florida state statutes, by local ordinances, by federal law, and by court decisions. So a lot of the language in the documents is preempted or voided. So we have to know that, because otherwise we couldn't render fair decisions. I guess a couple of examples. Florida state law has created two different classes with regard to tree removal. There's special rules, for the condos, different rules for the single houses. So we have to know that, and we have to be able to explain that and control it. There's changes in the law regarding property that's not visible from the roads and the golf course. So we have to know that certain houses are going to be not subject to our jurisdiction under most circumstances. We have to know that the law has changed with regard to such mundane things as hanging clothes on properties on a clothesline, and we have to know that they have different restrictions on, they've removed restrictions on the time period that trash cans can remain outside. We have to know, we have to figure this out, because if we can't be fair with, with everybody, we have to follow, if we can't follow the law, people are going to be happy. People may not be happy if we follow the law, but at least they don't feel like they're being screwed in any way. Equal protection for everybody is our mantra. Now, there's a couple of initiatives that we started. One was with the Fast Track program. They're going to say, what exactly is the Fast Track program and how do you get around it? Well, what we did, we spent a lot of time with Joe Clapp, and we got some insight from Newell Property Management. The Fast Track program is a program for all condominium owners. And what we realized is a lot of applications are coming in in April, May, June. We can't let those people wait 4 to 5 weeks to get to a committee meeting before they can get the approval to order the windows. Otherwise, they'll miss the window and miss prevention and protection from the hurricane season. So we devised a pre-approval plan, since the condos pretty much have the same standards for the windows. We were able to use the state law with regard to hurricane protection to approve impact windows, and we were able to use Florida law and utility law, or utility recommendations to incorporate, in addition to clear glass, we were able to add on low E glass, which is environmentally helpful. So those are a little bit of things that we were able to do using the state laws to supplement our documents. One thing Joe was concerned about, I was concerned about, and everybody should be concerned about, is making sure the windows remain. That's why we have that, it remained in a clear condition. We specifically did not want anybody using the hurricane protection laws to put things in with their impact windows that would include heavy discoloration or mirrored windows. So we didn't want a heavy tint. We didn't want that. So I think we protected the community as much as we can, and we've eased the burden on the on the property owners, the condominium owners. Now, that program was initially viewed with some skepticism, but we've gone from a trial basis to a permanent program. Another thing we've done with the condos, we've initiated, started talking about what to do with the refrigerant lines. Cobblestone has responded. They have a plan. They have a plan in place for theirs. That's going to a board meeting. Actually, it's going to a vote, I think, this Thursday coming up, and it's already been pre-approved by the board. So that will help provide some symmetry, in the relining of the refrigerant lines and covering them with a symmetrical type of conduit. We're hoping that we get more participation from some of the other condos. As far as single-family houses, we spent a long time trying to do a Rust standard. The Rust standard is as sound as can possibly be, and allows the community to enforce a Rust that is superimposed on community property and private property. We've had a little bit, we've had some issues, creating a protocol for notifications, but I think we've ironed that out. It's still subject to a couple tweaks. And I guess, the general manager wants to remodify the RUS program. So if that's going to be something that's going to be coming up for consideration. We've added that to the ARC meeting on Wednesday. And we'll see whether that can be done, whether the modification C6 can be done, or whether the whole RUS program has to be, the standard has to be removed. So that's about where we're standing there. The documents only require us to do inspections on 2 different areas. One is on dirty roofs. The second, with the approval of the RUS standard last year, adds the RUS standard. And we also are getting involved in almost a mandatory inspection for white weeds that are throughout the property, because we get enough complaints about white weeds. It's becoming a mandatory inspection. The problem that we have with that is how do we do this so that everybody is treated fairly and equally? And that falls back sort of on the remedies that we're allowed under our documents. Our documents provide 4 remedies when people are in alleged violation. One is fines. The fines have pretty much been disregarded based on advice of counsel, because it's a labyrinth. It takes forever, is expensive, and doesn't usually yield the result intended. The other extreme is going into court asking for an injunction. That's been disavowed by the courts if the documents have a remedy called intervention by the master board.
Hey, Jim, would you begin wrapping up so we can move on with the
What's
agenda?
that?
Would you begin wrapping up your report so we can move on
Okay.
with the agenda,
Well,
please?
We'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up tomorrow at the meeting. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm sorry. We'll wrap it up Wednesday at the ARC meeting. Thank you all.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, next up is John Alessandrello, Chair of the Facilities Planning Committee. John?
Hello, everyone. John Alessandrello. I work on the Facilities Planning Committee. One of the big project that we did complete over the summertime with the new pickleball courts, so I hope people will get out there and utilize them and have some fun. Going into the next year and a half, one of the things we'll be looking at is to determine if there's some space in the clubhouse area where we could add some parking, additional parking. Also,
John, I don't think the audience heard that last part of your report about the parking. Could you repeat that for them, please? No, in the mic, in the mic.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
are looking for additional space where we could provide more parking at the clubhouse. Our team will be back in session within the next couple of weeks, and we will convene and see what other ideas that we have moving forward. One of the things I've been in kind of the pickleball, a lot of pickleball people have approached me and want to know if we could look around and see if there's other space that they could use for their pickleball events. And that's all I have for the moment. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you, John. Okay, next up is Holly Vandervoort, the Chair of the newly established House Committee. The House Committee is a subcommittee of the Facilities Planning Committee, and I'd like to welcome Holly up to give a brief update on what the committee has been up to.
Hi, everybody. The new clubhouse and common area, The new clubhouse and common area aesthetics subcommittee was recently established by the Board of Directors, working under the Facilities Planning Committee to, as Rick said, identify, evaluate, and recommend improvements to the visual appeal, ambiance, and functionality of the clubhouse and surrounding areas. The current House Committee members are myself, Jane Highland, Chris Bagley, and Daryl Allen. We are already hard at work beautifying our space in and around the clubhouse at Royal Wood. A couple of things we've already done. We've procured some outdoor furniture at the front entrance, painted a few rooms and areas around the clubhouse inside, ordered some new umbrellas for the front patios. Future projects we're looking at are cleaning up the sand trap, sprucing up the patios to try to draw people outside. And lastly, I'd like to say the committee is extremely open to any ideas that people have, any suggestions that you might have about how you think we can beautify the space, the beautiful space we here have at Royal Wood. That's it.
Great, thank you, Holly.
Right.
And to the committee for the early results. Okay, moving right along, we've got Turby Wright, Chair of the Fitness Committee. Turby? Fitness?
Thanks, Rick. Hi, everybody. I'm Turby Wright. I'm Chairman of your Fitness Committee. I just want to let everybody know what we have going on for the upcoming year. We finalized the schedule last week for the classes down at the fitness center. We're going to have 17 classes, which is a few more than last year. There are 8 DVD classes, which have been going on, very popular, and somebody in the class puts a DVD in, and those are really popular classes. We're going to have 9 instructor-led classes. Some different ones than we've had before, and there's more. We're also going to have 2 on Saturday, including a new one, Golf Fit. That one could be popular. And the really good news about the classes is there's going to be no charge for them this year. So we're hoping that the turnout will be a lot better for the classes. So that's a big deal. We're also going to have 4, starting in January, we're going to have 4 kind of demonstration days. Where I'm going to have a group of people and show them kind of people, we all need to work out, and some people just don't know how to do it, and they're intimidated, and therefore they don't go. So we're going to have, just show people how to use the equipment, kind of how to structure a workout, you know, demonstrate and get them started working out. And then next month we'll do, maybe add a few more things, you know, and every month kind of get people, hopefully get them into a routine of working out. So looking forward to doing that. I mean, our goal is to get everybody here working out. We all need to do it. So everyone that wants to work out and maybe doesn't, we want to get them. Maybe we'll get a few that don't want to work out. We'll get them there anyway. So anyway, tell your friends, please come down if you need some help. I think the dates, we're going to finalize the dates soon, and that email will go out in December, I believe. Excuse me. And look forward to seeing. Tell your friends, and we'll see you down at the fitness center. Thank you.
Thank you, Turby. Appreciate that. Next up is Jeff Johns, Chair of the Golf and Greens Committee. Jeff?
Hello, everyone. Jeff Johns, Golf and Greens. Just want to let you know that it was a real busy off-season for the Golf and Greens Committee. First, we were asked to form a summer membership task force to review and make recommendations. Task force was chaired by Suzanne Stoll. Suzanne and I later presented our final report to the Finance Committee in preparation for the 2026 budget. I'd like to thank Suzanne and all the members of the task force for their hard work over the last several months. We were also asked to form a member guest committee in preparation for our recent member guest tourney, and I asked Brian Healy to be the chair of that committee. And I want to thank Brian and all the members of the member guest committee for all their hard work over the last few months. The feedback I received from members and guests at the tournament advised that it was a success, a lot of happy people. Thanks goes out to all that were involved in making this happen. And I think Rick covered a lot of people there that I was going to cover, but you know, Debbie, Richard, our food and beverage area, Chef Vicky, Wyatt Turner and all the staff, Ori that was here earlier. Lots of hard work and a lot of good planning ahead of time, and Brian did a great job. I also want to say that there was good sponsorship activity. We went out and kind of surveyed the area with the restaurants and the places we go to that are nearby, and for those that weren't in the tournament, we probably had 9 or 10 sponsors of people that were in the immediate area that really very quickly supported us and wanted to make their signs. We made signs for them and had them on all the tee boxes, and I know they appreciated that. So if you do visit some of these places, that would be great if you just let them know. It was places like Bernina's, Mila's Cafe, Foxborough's, the Family Pharmacy, places like that really did a great job helping us out. The winners of our tournament that ended on Saturday in the shootout, the winners of the overall, was first place Sean and Anthony Doherty, and second place was Brian and Sean Healy. So congratulations to them. That was great. Some other work that we did was MJ Crowley, who is the president of Our Ladies 18 Hole, and also a member of the Golf and Greens Committee, worked with Debbie Richard and Wyatt Turner, and they worked up a new revised hole-in-one policy that was recently distributed to everyone by email, and there's a lot of flyers on that to let you know what that is. But thanks to all of them for doing that. It makes it a lot easier for everybody, I think. And lastly, our men's interleague play is getting ready to start soon, and we have 2 new captains for the team, and that's Tim Shields, our club champion, and Kenny Ludwig be our new captains to push us through to victory. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Next up is Diane Sarah from our social committee. Thanks, Diane.
Hi, everyone. I guess you can hear me, right? Yep,
A little bit
okay.
closer. A little closer.
Okay, can I hold it?
There you go.
Okay, here we go. On December 5th, we are going to kick off the holiday season here, actually in this room. We're going to be having our holiday market. And Angela Tedeschi is organizing our vendors, and this room will be filled with things that you can buy for friends and family for Christmas. If you are someone, a member in Royalwood, who would like to have a table here, please get in touch with Angela, because everyone's welcome to have a table, and everyone's welcome to come in that day and visit and shop. And that will be sort of an open house day. We will be having music, and we will have Santa, and there'll be dancing, and it should be a lot of fun. So please come out that day. That'll be our kickoff for our holiday season. Then the next thing we'll be doing is we're going to have a trolley tour of the holiday lights. Now, we did this last year, and it was very well received. It's going to be December 9th, 5:30 to 8:30. The trolley will come here, pick us up. You can BYO, whatever you want to eat to drink on the ride. We'll be going through Venetian Village, Victoria Park. That's the place, the big neighborhood that all the houses decorate for. In fact, I was told that when you buy in there, you have to sign up that you'll be part of the Christmas decoration. So it is pretty fabulous. And that's that one. We'll be able to accommodate 38 people. So as soon as you see that come out on email, that's your key. That's when you should go to the website and go to that day, December 9th, and sign up. And I have one other save the date, but it's not till March, but we only have 20 seats for this. We are going to be going to see the musical 9 to 5 down at the Sugden Theater. And it's going to be a $48 person ticket. And like I said, we only have a block of 20. 8 of those seats will actually be easy access, so you don't need to be worried if you can't get in there. So that, again, as soon as that comes out, mark that on your calendar. It's a Sunday afternoon. We'll be going to the matinee show. If you want one of those tickets, you got to get online and do that fast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane. Appreciate all the work you do there. All right, last but not least is Gary Norbaum, the chair of the 2028 Golf Renovation Project. Gary?
Good afternoon, everybody. And if you don't know who I am by now, I'm Gary Norbaum from Amberley Village. At the April 2025 Master Board meeting, the board approved the Royal Wood Committee for the 2028 Golf Course Renovation Project. Our committee is composed of the following members: Pat Paglucia from Andover, Michael McDermott from the Single Family Homes, Jeff Johns and Golf and Greens Chair from the Single Family Homes, Terry Allen from Amberley Village, President Rick Murphy, Master Board Liaison and Treasurer Mike Murphy, Golf Course Superintendent Ori Andrews, and General Manager Debbie Richard. Our committee has been hard at work since being appointed with our initial task of hiring an architect for the project. The committee recommended and the Master Board approved David Welchel for the position. David has been involved with our club over the years and is very familiar with Royal Wood. David has also been involved with several other renovation projects at other clubs here in Southwest Florida. He has been on property 3 times for meetings, discussions, and on-course evaluations. David will be on property this week for more evaluations and meetings. We also have secured an irrigation consultant, David Reagan, from Reagan Technical Solutions, to tackle that job with the renovation. Hopefully everybody has seen the committee's communication to the membership last week that Debbie Richards sent out via email. To highlight some of the things in the communication, in case you didn't have a chance to see it, some of our objectives for the committee is: 1, installing new modernized irrigation system. 2, regrassing the golf course with a more playable surface. 3, landscaping changes and improving drainage. 4, bunker renovations. 5, sustainability and environmental responsibility practices here at Royal Wood. 6, keeping up with modern standards. 7, boosting property value and attracting new members. And 8, working with the Master Board and the Finance Committee to stay on budget with the project. Our committee goals are to provide a superior playing surface for our members. 2, maintaining our challenging design and making the course more fun, fair, and enjoyable for our members. 3, decrease our maintenance time and cost here at Royal Wood. And 4, a new fresh design to make Royal Woods an even better bundled community in Naples. We are working towards an early 2026 timeline to complete the planning phase of the project and present it to both the master board and to the community. Our committee would like to thank the master board for your vote of confidence, and we are excited to reveal the plan for the renovation early next year. Does the board have any questions? I got off easy this time.
Yes, wait till next time. Thank you, Gary. Okay, that concludes the committee reports. Next agenda item is for opportunities for the Board of Directors to provide any further comments or reports. So are there any directors who, no, Tim, Mike, okay. Moving on, the next agenda item is the opportunity for member comments who have registered to speak on items including in today's meeting agenda. Please try to limit your comments to the 3 minutes that is traditional for this session. The first on the list is Jeff Johns. Jeff would like to speak on the Racket Sports Association, which is a relates to a matter on the agenda that the board will be voting on regarding rules and regulations, modifications to the use of the Master Association's new courts. So Jeff?
Okay, thank you. I come as a pickleballer. I just want to briefly discuss the creation of the new Racket Sports Association at Royal Wood. When I first received notice of this new association, I was very happy to see it happening. I felt this was an opportunity to form goodwill and alliance by combining both pickleball and tennis players under one umbrella. However, we started receiving emails that told us times of play for tennis, times of play for pickleball people. I next got emails that was asking for $40 for membership fee for this association, and without direction on really what this money was for. Next, I picked up my inserts for the Green Book, and I found that this association already had a full list of officers. And I was really surprised to see that it was all tennis players as officers. I was supposed to, I was surprised that there was not an effort to engage the pickleball community, bring us all together as one and work as one. I feel it was a missed opportunity to bring tennis and pickleballers together as one community and enjoy this beautiful place that we have here and have joint events. I recommend that we not approve this association as it currently stands. I suggest we start over and have both tennis and pickleballers meet, vote on association officers, and present at the next board meeting. We'll present a new list of officers and our strategy to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Typically in the open forum, we don't engage in back and forth. It's really designed for us to actively listen to the comments and act on them. I felt it was necessary to respond to Jeff's comments. And I didn't even realize this until I just recently joined the board and became president. And one of the first things I had to do is to establish the chairs of the committees, all of the standing committees of the association, and found that the Tennis Association, now the Racket Sports Association, is not a standing committee or association of the Master Association. So we as a board and me as the president do not have the authority to establish the chair or the members of the association. Obviously, that's a challenge because it involves a lot of our members. The intent of creating this new Racket Sports Association was designed to bring both the pickleball and tennis community together to market both sports and to organize events for both sports. And it's a little discouraging to hear that it's not fully represented for both sports on the association. As I mentioned, right now, there's not the opportunity for the master board to step up and make changes there. However, having heard this in the last 24 hours, I've asked our general manager if what the process is for making this new association and actually a standing committee of the Master Association. So we are going to, as a board, examine that and, if possible, see if we have the opportunity at a future board meeting to bring that in as a standing committee and ensure that we have good representation across that committee from all villages, all sport members, so that can truly be a valuable asset for utilizing, as I mentioned before, this extremely valuable piece of property that we have out here. So I'll commit to pursuing that action as we move forward, Jeff, and for those who also have the similar interest there. Okay, moving along, Nancy Neff has asked to speak regarding the master plan for golf. Although that's not a direct agenda item that's on the agenda, it was reported on by Gary Norbaum in his briefing on the golf renovation committee, so I'll allow Nancy to come up and give her comments.
I'm Nancy Neff. I'm from Bloomfield, and I am not a golfer. I've never been a golfer. My husband was a great golfer, but by the time we came here, he could no longer play. I know that I contribute to helping the golf course be a great golf course. That is not what I'm here for. I'm interested when I get information about the golf course. I'm interested in learning everything about Royalwood. That's why I'm on the board at Bloomfield. I hear my friends talk about the golf course. I have no knowledge of it because I've never been on the golf course. I'm asking if there is some group here who will take those of us who help support the golf course, who love Royalwood, and say, come, let's have an evening or a morning when we can take all the non-golfers out to see where your money is going, so that when we tell you about this hole or about other things, we will understand what you are asking for. It can be a social event, it could be a learning experience, but I feel that that's something that would provide goodwill and respect for those of us who are not golfers, but who want to support the project going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that suggestion. Next on the list is Billy Scott, who would like to talk about pickleball. Okay.
So I'm going to throw this away because Jeff made it very clear. I'm Bill Scott. I've been working at East Naples for 12 years. We started with 4 pickleball courts. We have 64 now. So I've seen the growth of when pickleball comes into like a community. And what I see here is room, not enough room, right? But I see pickleball courts. So it's all about scheduling. You got to schedule events. That's what you're going to have to do. That's going to make it grow and get participation. You need a scheduler to make these events strong and with sponsorship. Now, I'm willing to help out with that. I have a corporate Wilson connection, and the pickleball courts in East Naples willing to provide instructors, equipment, and stuff to kind of get a venue here of pickleball going. So that's all.
Thank you, Billy. Next up is Ray Fern, who would like to speak on trespassers and the Summit Voice Services. Ray, are you here? Ray left, okay. Next on the list is Holly Vandervoort. Holly, are you still interested in speaking on tennis and, okay?
I wish I could. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the board for finally agreeing to resurface the courts. Oh, sorry. I should know that by now, right? Is this good? Okay.
Yeah, better.
Just want to thank the board again to say finally for you guys agreeing to resurface the courts and line them for both pickleball and tennis. I have faith that we, as both pickleball and tennis people, can come together as one to form what will be the Royal Wood Racket Sports Association, an organization that should be rooted in transparency, fairness, and equal representation. Today, I understand there will be a vote to ratify new bylaws, regulations, which include designated court times and fees for the new Racket Sports Association. I also understand that this new Racket Association has already been structured, as Jeff mentioned, and consists of only representatives from the old Tennis Association. There's a handout, well, from the directory. There are 9 officers of this new association, and those officers are all tennis players. Not one pickleball player is represented. How can that be? We are one community. Accordingly, we would simply like to ask that there be a delay to the ratification of these bylaws, as well as a restructuring of the organization of the Racket Sports Association, so that members of the pickleball community could be equally represented. It is the only fair, right, and just thing to do. Considering the number of active pickleball players in the community, I think they're in numbers of 250 to 300 players versus the number of active tennis players. Not sure how many there are at this point. The fact that we've even been having to have this debate for so long, going back and forth about hours and the linings of the second court, which, by the way, I hope that the board will consider in short order that second court get lined, considering the number of pickleball players that show up almost every day up here to play pickleball. It just seems plain crazy in the first place that we're debating this. It just needs to be fair all the way around for both tennis and pickleball, period. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Next on the list is Dick Price, who wanted to speak about the cable. I thought I saw Dick leave. Did he? Okay. Sorry about that, Dick. Turby, I noticed you're on the list here, but I think that was, you didn't, okay. That's what I thought, yeah. Thank you. Okay, moving on. There is no old business to discuss, so we'll move forward with the new business session. And I will start by having a discussion and a vote on the approval of the, or the proposed contract that was presented earlier, that Summit has presented for the, cable, I'm sorry, video, internet, and voice services. I'd like to entertain a motion to proceed with finalizing and signing the proposed 10-year contract submitted by Summit Broadband Vier M Consulting Group, contingent on resolving our outstanding edits in the proposed contract that was provided by our attorney. Is there a second? Is there someone who would like to make that motion? We'll handle questions and comments after the motion is seconded. Jamshed, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to open the discussion on the cable, the Summit package.
Okay, second? Mike Fahily, second. Rick Ferrier made the motion. Okay, with that, let's have a discussion. Jamshed, you wanted to have the floor. Please turn on the mic and speak close to the mic.
In your opening statement, you said there was general agreement between the agreement from Summit and our attorney's comments.
Yes, I believe our attorney submitted approximately 30 edits to the proposed contract. That was submitted late last week. Over the weekend, I got a reply via M Consulting from Summit's attorney. Approximately, I believe it was 26 of the 30 edits were accepted by Summit's attorney. 2 were slightly accepted with some modifications in the language, or they wanted to keep some of the language. And 3 or so other edits were denied by Summit's attorney. 2 were related to the term incidental that appeared in the document that our attorney asked to remove. In fact, that term incidental is included in the same provisions that exist in our current contract.
Sorry, did you say incidental?
I'm sorry?
What did you say, incidental? What was known? What was not?
Incidental was a term that was used in the proposal that our attorney recommended removing. That was denied by the Summit attorney, but in fact, that term exists in our current contract with Summit. So I'm hoping that we can find a resolution to those 2 comments on the removal of that particular term.
So you're comfortable that
I think Summit was extremely responsive to not only the board's recommended changes in the proposed contract, but now also our attorney's suggested edits to the contract, and their willingness to work with us throughout this process.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the proposed contract?
I'd like just to say that in looking at what we've done so far on this, moving forward with Summit is our best option, and prudent to do it sooner than later so we don't stand behind the 8 ball over this. And I believe that what we saw today, Summit was responsive on 26 of the items out of the 29 changes that we propose. And even though the contracts are pretty standard through cable items, I didn't see the 3 items that they really didn't respond to, are very minor, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, but in my opinion, I didn't see. So I suggest that as board, we kind of stop kicking this down the road and move on with it.
Thank you, Rick. Jamshed, let me go to Mike while you're working on the mic, that mic. What's been proposed is the 10-year term.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that after going through this process, I was very impressed with M Consulting. I was glad we got them on board. I think they really did a nice job working on behalf of Royal Wood. I think that they opened our eyes to where we are today and where we really should be, and that's in the past. And so I agree with Rick. I mean, I think, the further we go out on this, the more behind we're just falling. And I don't know if any of these things are ever going to be like, 100% the best in the world, but
I really like the work that everyone put in on this. I thought the attorneys did a great job. I thought Debbie did a great job. Rick, I thought you did a great job. And so I was impressed with it, and it seems like it's a really good deal. I mean, price goes down. The technology that we're gonna have versus what we have now is like, I mean, it's crazy, right? So to me, I'm just saying, I feel pretty good that this is the right thing, and for us to move forward with it.
Thank you, Mike. It was disappointing to find out during this process that we are still at a first-generation technology with Summit's equipment, and they're up to Generation 5 on it. When we became aware of it, we worked with M Consultant to ensure that in the proposed contract, there is a technology review after 3 years. So we can be assured that we're keeping up with new technology as it's introduced. The second item is most of us have experienced some issues on customer service with Summit in the past. They do have a new executive team that seems to be more attentive to our needs. Perhaps it's because we're going through this process. But I can see a marked improvement. I think Debbie, who is a kind of the clearinghouse of these complaints, can be a testament to that. However, we do have a much stronger service level agreement in the new proposed agreement, where if there are deficiencies in their response on a customer service, we have provisions in the contract where we can pursue actions against Summit. And they have some skin in the game, real skin in the game there. So those were two, I think, important elements that were included in both the 5-year and the 10-year term. The 10-year term does save us money, about at least $67,000 a year over our current contract beginning in April of 2026. Alternatively, the 5-year contract was shorter in term, but represented incremental costs, at least $20,000 per year each year over that 5-year term. So comparing the two, it would be about a $87,000 differential between the 10-year and the 5-year proposal. That's why we put before the board the approval for the 10-year term. So with that, unless there are any further questions, I'd like to go to the vote on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, nay. Is Jeff still on? Okay, he said yay. So the motion passes unanimously, and we'll proceed with signing the contract with Summit. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our new business is a discussion and motion to approve updates to the association rules and regulations documents. Each of the proposed updates are included in the board's meeting materials. The first relates to a subject that was referenced in our open communication, open forum, and it's about the title of it is Modification to the Royalwood Master Association Rules and Regulations relating to the use of the Master Association's new courts designed for the purpose of playing both tennis and pickleball sports. In our existing rules and regulations, there are provisions in there that relate to the use of the tennis courts. And if you recall, when the motion was made to resurface our courts to allow for both tennis and pickleball, there were compromises that were made to get the support of the Tennis Association for the court resurfacing project. And that related to the hours for Tennis Association play for men and the Women's Association play. That was part of the discussion and the decision by the board to approve that project. So We felt it was important to codify those agreements that were made in our existing rules and regulations that have become obsolete. And I understand that we're trying to address these issues about equity and the new association, and the board will be very open to handling additional modifications to the rules and regulations, particularly if the Racket Sports Association becomes a standing committee of the Master Association. So with that background, I'd like to see if there's a motion to approve the modification to the association's rules and regulations for use of the new racket sports courts. Do I have a motion? Anyone? Jamshed made the motion. Anyone seconded? Okay, a vote on the motion. All those favor? Oh, I'm sorry. It's comments on the.
Yeah, on this particular issue, I just want to say that I'm not surprised with what I heard today. And in fact, I think it would be surprising if this new association were to come together and it was just kumbaya right out of the gates. We weren't even back when that original document came out and the directors of the committee were chosen. I know myself personally, I have no idea where that came from, who did it. I assume that it was through communication between the racket association, between the pickleballers and the tennis players. But it doesn't surprise me at all. This is a brand new venture that has all the, it looks like it has the ability to be like just a great, great thing. I mean, what a wonderful thing. We can be playing tournaments all around the different communities here at the main court. We can get the tennis players going like crazy, get more people playing tennis. We could have tournaments where it's tennis and racquetball. You play one game of tennis, you play one game of racquetball. You could, who knows where you could go with this. But if you really think about what started this whole thing, it was really, the first thing was the health of the community so that people would be able to do things to remain healthy and live out their life in a healthy manner. The second thing was for utilization of our assets, correct? We talk all the time about our assets. We talk all the time about our home values and our resale values and our shareholder value and what is Royal Wood about, right? And why are we here? And so I look at this and I say, wow, this is great. But what we need to do with any new thing and any new association, I think that the association needs to be smart enough to give themselves flexibility and fluidity and time to mold this into what everyone can agree to. That will be a great thing. It just seems to make all the sense in the world. And it doesn't, we could put time limits on it. We could take this up at the next board meeting, but and I'm not saying that what they've outlined right now isn't ultimately the best thing for everyone. I'm not saying that. It very well could be. But I do feel like anyone, who would want to get boxed into something right now where it's so new and exciting? Like, let's get together and get the groups together and figure out, where we're going and what makes sense. Just this morning, I saw that the tennis was playing this morning. It's Monday morning. I think there was tennis this morning, right? Women's tennis on Monday morning. And that was, part of the email that went out. And again, I didn't know anything about it. I saw it, but I thought that everyone agreed to the times. But from 8 to 10, I guess it was tennis, which is great. So the tennis players came, and there were 4 women playing tennis. And the thing that upset me was I said, well, see, here's the communication of a new organization, because if they were working together and communicating, they would have been like, hey, guess what? This Monday at 8 o'clock, people can play pickleball too. You don't have to wait till 10, because we only have 4. So those are the things, that picture that might happen tomorrow morning, for all we know, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, because the group hasn't had a chance to sit down and say, where is this going to go? And so I would feel better, I think, if we allowed them to go ahead and do that and get to know each other and really talk about it and see. It can't be put together. People aren't even back yet. We don't even know how many people are going to be showing up for these things. But once people do, you know, the group can get together, and I'm sure, without us being involved in it at all, they can figure out a great way to make use of this whole thing. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mike. Any other comments?
One question.
Yes.
What's the difference between association and committee?
The association, as I mentioned earlier, is truly a member.
I think yours died, it went red.
The difference, Jamshed, is that the previous tennis association and now the Racket Sports Association is not a standing committee of the Master Board, as I mentioned earlier. So it's run by its members. It's not run by the Master Association. We don't appoint the officers of that association. That's why I said we will certainly look at how do we go through the process of bringing that new association in as a standing committee of the Master Association. Okay. No, not at this time.
My question, if we approve this, does that make the current tennis association null and void?
No, what's on the table right now as a motion is to approve the proposed modification to the rules and regulations that currently exist that focus on time of tennis play to clearly identify what the hours of tennis play is for both the men's and women's association in our existing rules and regulations, because it exists today. So we just need to refresh those that represent the new Racket Sports Association. Again, they exist in the rules and regulations. They're outside of the scope of the Master Board, and we'll look to see how we can address some of these issues by having this a standing committee going forward.
But once we pass this, will the new group, the Racket Association, be formed and have a committee?
No,
And
this
will
is
they be
separate and
under
distinct.
our-
This is just purely establishes the operating hours for men's play, women's play, tennis, and for pickleball. And these proposed changes could be modified again at a future board meeting as the association comes together and addresses some of these issues we've talked about.
This won't necessarily end the friction between the two groups.
No, and when this was proposed, I don't think any of us were aware of the friction that exists between the tennis and the racquetball groups. So the motion is to approve this proposed modification, and if the board members want to approve that and move forward, they can do so. If the motion isn't approved, then the rules and regulations will stand in place. Yes?
So if nothing's voted on the motion here, this document is tabled for a future vote, correct?
If it's not approved.
Correct. If we do not vote at all, the yea and nay, no, we have to vote. So because we brought it to the table. Okay. I remember last year when we brought this forward on the committee, our charge was to approve a resurfacing project with lining of pickleball tennis courts. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't committees formed at the end of the season to be approved by the board, not at the start of a season? So are we being asked to approve a different committee than what was presented to us last season? Okay.
What's being voted on is just the modification to the current rules and regulations. So we have a question from Jeff. That's correct. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. The new association was designed to be able to market and do the scheduling of both pickleball and tennis. Because of the comments that we've received, we could have an alternative motion to table the proposed change to the current rules and regulations and address that at a future board meeting. So would someone want to make a motion, an alternative motion that's on the table today?
I'd like to make a motion to table this motion and propose it at a future board meeting and have, hopefully, the two groups come together and give us a proposal that everybody's willing to share.
I'll second that.
Rick Veria made a motion to table the proposed amendment to the current rules and regulations. Mike Fahili seconded the motion. Are there any comments on this alternative motion? Hearing none. And before we go to a vote, I do want to point out that the current rules and regulations specify the times and days of when tennis is played on the courts. So that will be in place until any modifications are made. So with that, I'd like to have a vote on approval of the alternative motion to table the proposed changes to the current rules and regulations as submitted in your meeting booklets. All in favor? Yay? That was a yay. Okay. Nay? All right, the alternative motion passes. The rules will stay in place as referenced in our current rules and regulations. Okay, the next proposal is another proposal to clarify our rules and regulations, and I'll quickly read the purpose and background. At present, there is no written policy in the rules and regulations specifying the minimum age at which minor custodial children may be issued a membership card. The lack of clarity creates inconsistency with parents' requests for children as young as the age of 12. Establishing a defined age requirement will ensure consistent application of policy, reduction confusion, and provide staff with clear guidance. The proposed language included in your meeting materials would be membership cards will only be issued to custodial children who are 16 years of age or older. Children under 16 are not eligible to receive membership cards. Do I have a motion on this particular proposal?
I'll make the motion.
Mike Fahili made the motion. Rick Veria seconded. Comments? 16 is the minimum age. Hearing no further comments, we'll go to vote. All in favor of the proposed modification to the current rules and regulations, say yay. Nay? Opposed, say nay.
Mr. Clark, were you yay or nay?
I was a yay.
Okay.
Thank you.
The motion passes unanimously. The third policy change is the background is the association maintains a 5,000 square foot fitness center and a separate aerobics room available for member use. To ensure a safe, fair, and enjoyable environment, clear rules and regulations are needed regarding access, safety, usage, and responsibilities of members and guests. This policy seeks to establish guidelines that minimize risk, protect association assets, and promote healthy and respectful use of the facilities. Under the proposed policy language, you can read it in your meeting booklet. They're lengthy here, and for the sake of keeping things on schedule, I will ask if there's a motion for this particular modification to the rules and regulations. Is there a motion? Jeff Clark makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Mike Murphy seconds. Any comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor of the proposed policy change, say yay. Opposed, nay. The motion passes unanimously. Okay. Moving along, the board will now consider something that we don't particularly have to address, but we are required to do so in an open forum. And it relates to the accounts receivable aging reports from members that have arrears balances of 90 days or greater. And the proposal is to consider the suspension of voting and use rights for members who are currently over 90 days delinquent on bills owed to the association. The accounts receivable aging reports of these members were sent to the board last week for their review. We will have a motion, discussion, and vote on the individual members residing at each of the addresses referenced on the meeting agenda. So by each individual address, is there a motion to suspend the voting and use rights for the member or members residing at 3675 Embley Circle, Unit C304? Is there a motion for that? Mike Fahey makes the motion. Rick Veria, seconded. Discussion?
I have one question, Rick, if you can hear me.
Yes, we can, Jeff.
Are we comfortable that we have provided reasonable notice of our intentions from all four of these people? Are we comfortable with what we've done?
Yes, I'm having discussions with Debbie and Jessica on this. I feel that we've done our due diligence to try to prevent these accounts coming before the board, but there has been no response. Debbie and Jessica, I'll ask if you had any more comments regarding that.
No, not at this time.
No.
I mean, I can tell you the process, but.
Yeah, it's a very rigid process that we go through to communicate to members using various forms of communication about their delinquency and their arrears balance. And to get to this point, all avenues have been exhausted, including engaging our attorneys for legal work on this. So the motion is to suspend the voting and use rights for the members of 3675 Amberley Circle, C304. We had a motion and a second. We've had some discussion. Mike, do you have?
Just in suspending their privileges, does this also include their ability to rent their units?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Not necessarily to rent it, but to issue a membership to their tenants, because they don't have a membership to transfer.
So they could rent it, and the people who are renting can just be here,
Correct,
but they can't go to the restaurant, they can't play golf?
correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? Tim?
Jessica, what is the exact process? So, so we're looking at people here that are past 90 days, okay? Can you lay out the process from, I mean, is there a letter? Do we have a letter that could you just lay out the process?
Yeah, I can lay out the
Thank you.
process. So, what most people don't realize is when you're 1 day late, you're automatically 30 days late. So the statement you just got, for example, on November 1st, if that is not paid by December 1st, in accounting terms, you're 30 days late. So we do not do anything at 30 days because we understand that things happen, things fall through the cracks. Someone might not have seen their statement. It could be a million reasons. At 60 days, we send them an email, sometimes 2 emails, and we do it to any email that we have on file. If they do not pay, and in that email, we also let them know that per our bylaws and the Homeowners Association Act, at 90 days, we can suspend them if they have not made payment within 30 days. So if they do not make payment by the end of that month that we email them in, we send them an intent to lien letter. That intent to lien letter, we legally have to give them 30 days to respond. So again, if they don't respond within 30 days of that, our controller, David, will call them. If we do not get a call back or we do not receive payment, it goes to our lawyer at that time, and they go for further collection action.
Where is the letter sent with intent to,
Intent to lien?
Lien.
Any address we have on file.
any?
Yes, so if they have 2 addresses on file, it goes to both.
Okay.
And it goes certified.
So technically, if you're at 90, you could make the argument you're really at 120,
You could.
okay? And the other, now you answer my question, thank you.
Eddie?
Are they being assessed a finance charge on the balance due?
Yes.
For-
And once it goes to collections, they're being assessed the attorney fees.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further comments? All right, let's go to vote for this particular issue on delinquency. Again, the proposal is the suspension of the voting and use rights for the members residing at 3675 Amberley Circle, Unit C304. We had a motion and a seconded and a discussion. Let's go to vote. All in favor, say yay. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Moving forward is a motion for the suspension of voting and use rights for members who are currently over 90 days delinquent on bills owed to the association for the address of 4556 Andover Way, Unit E304. Is there a motion on this? Rick Ferrier made the motion, seconded? Mike Fahey seconded. Any discussion beyond what we've already had with the previous? Hearing none, let's move to vote. All in favor, yay? All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Third proposal is the suspension of voting and use rights for members who are currently over 90 days delinquent on bills owed to the association, who reside at 5936 Cranbrook Way, Unit B202. Is there a motion for this? Mike Fahey makes the motion, second. Tim Shields, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of this motion, say yay. All opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously. And finally, a proposal on the suspension of voting and use rights for members who are currently over 90 days delinquent on bills owed to the association who reside at 6022 Westboro Drive. Is there a motion? Jeff Clark makes the motion, second. Tim Shields, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go to vote. All in favor, say yay. All opposed, say nay. The motion passes unanimously. That concludes the new business session of the agenda. The The next scheduled meeting of the Master Association Board of Directors will be held on January 19th, 2026, at 3 p.m. in the Royalwood Clubhouse Dining Room. Is there any further business that the board would like to bring up at this time? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Mike Murphy makes the motion, seconded by Rick Ferrier. My apologies for the length of the agenda here. Unfortunately, this is the first meeting of our season, and we don't typically have board meetings in December. So, but I appreciate the patience for all those who have stayed with us. Thank you, everyone, and on behalf of the Master Board, we wish you all a safe and enjoyable holiday season. This meeting is adjourned. It is 5:33.
Bye, Mr. Clark, thanks.
Thank you, thanks. Man, that was a marathon.
I gotta put the liquor away. They,
Excuse me, Jess, do you have another one of these?
I don't know where that came from, so.
Pass them out.
I haven't even seen that.
On all the pages, on all these pages, they're gonna email, they're gonna send a thing you can download and.
Yeah, we'll do it as a PDF.
Thanks.
Mr. Clark.